Hey, hey, hey.
Hey.
What's going on with you, sir? It's been a long time.
Right. Woo, man, tell me about it.
It's good to see you.
I know. So when you ready, we can start. So we can definitely start this. This is really
I'm
awesome.
ready.
Having you on here. All
I'm
right.
ready.
Let me
Let's do
see.
it.
There we go. Okay, there we go. All right, welcome back to the Woman Total Experience Radio Show. I have an honor of having this woman as my guest. She is an author, a podcast host, a teacher, a doctor. I don't know what she has so many titles. We go back about like probably like 18 years since we first
Yeah.
met. So I'm gonna give her name is Miss Leah Forney. I hope I say her last name. I know
Yeah.
it's Leah Michelle, but it's Leah Forney. But how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. First, let me just say congratulations to you, Mr. Married Man. Like, I'm so excited for you in this new chapter of your life with your new lovely wife, Fatima. So, definitely congratulations to you.
Yes, I never thought I'll never thought I'd be in this place because I was admiring your marriage, and how God has brought you through it. I know you for a whole long time, so it's been a long time. So I just want to commend you
Thank you.
for continuing on your path, to what God's called you to do in the midst of all the stuff you've been through. So we probably get into that later. So but I mean, how was your week?
My week was good. It was good. Busy. When you're doing things for God, He keeps you busy for sure. So
Amen.
definitely
Amen.
busy,
Amen.
but will not complain, right?
That's right. That's right. So, like I said, me and Leah go back a long, long time, and
Yeah.
so can you tell us who is Leah? Who is Leah?
Yeah, sure. So I'm on Facebook, I'm Leah M. Forney, but in a nutshell, I'm a native of Queens, New York, but I currently reside in Maryland. I am a 7-time published author, Amazon best-selling author. I'm a coach. I'm also a mental health clinician, and then I'm the podcast host of internationally streamed Hey Queen Thrive. And so that's a little bit about who I am.
Wow. So it's funny because now we are both advocates of mental health. So like
Mhm.
so I've always been a person that always look for help. And a couple of years ago I started doing mental health classes with my students at Paddock Greatness. And
Yeah.
now it's like I'm a huge advocate for mental health because especially on young people because there's so much stuff out here they are dealing with right now, and they need
Yes.
someone to talk to or outlet for them to handle those things instead of carrying that stuff with them into
Yeah.
adulthood and get into the wrong relationships and friendships with people in the wrong situation about dealing with your mental health, those traumas in the beginning hand. Um, so what was your upbringing like?
Oh, wow. So I'm actually the daughter of two addicts. My mother has battled with drug addiction since I was 2. My father was an alcoholic since I was about 9, and he actually died an alcoholic. So I grew up actually without my parents. My maternal grandmother raised me and my 2 of my other siblings. And so it was rough. It was rough growing up without mom and dad. It was definitely the feeling of being different, right? Because I grew up in a pretty good neighborhood in Queens, New York, where I saw a lot of my friends had mothers and fathers, and I was the only one that was raised with grandma and auntie. So definitely a lot of feelings around being different and kind of trying to figure out why I couldn't be like the rest of my friends, why I didn't have mom and dad in my life. And when I was growing up, my grandmother didn't really like tell us about our parents until we were old enough to understand what was going on. So she did a lot of protecting, just because we were young and we were vulnerable, and I don't think we would have really understood. Mom's a drug addict and dad's an alcoholic and he's in and out of prison. I don't think we really would have understood that. Um, but I always felt different. Like I just knew there was just something missing in my life. And so my childhood is actually what led me to becoming a published author later in life, because I did a whole lot of writing as a kid. Like I knew that I had these emotions. I knew that, and contrary to what people might believe, I was an angry kid, right? So I did get into fights. I did, be destructive. And I remember my grandmother, her fear was either I was going to end up dead or end up in jail because I was so angry, right? So I had to channel that anger. I had to channel that anger, and writing was the way that I began to channel that anger. And so it started with just simply writing poems, writing letters to God, writing. My grandma used to say I used to write a whole list to Santa, right? Just writing, getting it out, and that was the beginning of who I am today and what I do today.
Mm, wow. So what made you like, so they see your offering? What made you decide to finally put your first book out there? Because as you said,
You
what
know
made
what?
you
It's
want to
so
do it?
funny because when I think about that journey, like I kind of always knew I had a story in me, but I just didn't know what that story looked like or how to get that story out. I think for a long time I sat on it because I was so fearful of what would people think if they knew. Especially in the church, when we go to church, sometimes we kind of wear the mask and we don't want people to really know us. So what really led me to that was God. He just got me to a place in him where he was just like, I need you to tell this story. And so I penned my very first book, Unapologetically Me, Living, Owning, and Walking in My Truth, back in 2016. It got released in 2017. And I connected with a lady in my church. We're still really good friends to this day, Ruth Griffin. And I said to her, I was like, Ruth, I really want to tell this story, but I really have no clue on how to tell this story. So she took me under her wing because she was she still is a publisher, and we crafted Unapologetically Me. And I remember when she was while she was editing and all that, she said to me, she was like, you are an amazing storyteller. I really don't think you get that. And I'm like, me? The storyteller? Like I thought I was just writing just for the release, right? But then once the book was out and hearing from so many other women who really were struggling with the same issues I was struggling with, right? Because the book details my love-hate relationship for my mother and kind of that struggle of feeling like on one hand my mom is my hero, right? Because she gave me life, but then on the other hand I'm struggling because she lives this lifestyle that I don't necessarily agree with. And then how do I navigate those feelings and still honor my mother like God told me to? Right. So it wasn't until the book came out that I realized that my story was so much bigger than me, because so many other women were like, I too have those same exact feelings about my mother. And so that was kind of the beginning of author Leah Forney.
Mm, wow. Yeah, because I think like what you did, because all of us have a testimony, we have responsibility to share it out to someone, because you never know how your story can impact someone or help deliver someone or help them get the strength to have those conversations and work on themselves and help work on the process of finding out why and what certain things happen. Put yourself out there.
Yeah.
So now you're a seven-time author. So I think I already know about two of the books. So like so, so like I know it's like I know about the first one,
Hmm.
but I know about the last two just came out. So what made you kept going? Like in between two, three, four, five, six, seven. What made you keep
Yeah.
doing
So
it?
my strategy is simple. I pray. I never write anything or release anything that God does not give me. And so for me, when I started off as an author, and you could probably attest to this because you're an author too. Like it's in your mind, it's
Mhm.
a one and done thing. Like I'm just gonna write this one book and I'm done. But when you are walking in what God calls you to walk into is never one and done, right? So I was cool with just, I'm a published author, check it off the list. Boom. God was like, nope, there's so much more in you, and there's so many more experiences that people really need to know, that they're not alone in. So really, every book has been birthed because of prayer. I literally seek God, because people ask me all the time, Levon, like, oh, what is your strategy for writing all these books? And I'm like, prayer. Like, I literally seek him in prayer.
Mhm.
I ask him, God, what is it that you want your people to know? Because this is your book. Yes, I'm writing it, but this is your book. Ultimately, it is going to do what it is designed to do. And so I seek him in prayer, and I tell people he either gives me the answer one or two ways. He either provides me with the title and no chapters, so then I'm left to figure that piece out, or he provides me with the title and the chapters. And so for me, when he gives it to me, title and chapters, I know that this is the book. Like, this is the actual book that he wants me to sit down and write and birth, because somebody needs it. And so that's pretty much how I've gotten 7 books published and working on my 8th one right now.
Wow. Wow, that's a lot. That's a major accomplishment because sometimes you know when you have the book inside you and
Mhm.
like sometimes life happens
Yeah.
and God still holds you responsible for that to do that book done. So
Yeah.
I know that I got 2 books in mind that I want to get done. That God's holding me responsible for because I've always wanted to write a children's book. Um,
Mm.
and based on my journey of how
Yeah.
I overcame speech therapy, how I dealt with that, and also like co-writing a book with my wife, based about our journey, how we dated each other, how we courted each other,
Yeah.
engaged and married in 1 calendar year. So basically,
Wow.
so basically, that's something we are working on. That's all back on our minds. Sometimes life happens, but once we get started, we ain't gonna stop. So like, so it's gonna be done. So I'm just excited because a lot of people don't know my story, but I think now I work with children now. I
Yeah.
think if I have a little cartoon version of me, they can see themselves. Okay, I can see myself in him. Okay, I get some hope.
Yeah, I think that's
So
important,
so
that people see themselves in your writing. And I think that's what makes books amazing, because it takes you to a place emotionally, mentally, where you're just like, oh, I can connect with this person. I may not have never met this person, but it's something about that person's story that makes them relatable. And I too can see myself, like you were saying, in that person.
right. So So me and you used to have like long, powerful conversations
Hmm.
about your journey, how God has delivered you and manifested you to who you are today.
Hmm.
So, um, one of the things I know, we probably just go. I know we're gonna talk about this. You were married. You were married. So,
Hmm.
you found your Prince Charming, your
Yes.
love, and
Hmm.
it inspired me and
Hmm.
inspire me how it happened and how happy you were and how much he had impacted in your life.
Yeah.
And I was one of the few people that circle that you told me this, and I was genuinely happy for you. So can you tell us how that happened, how it met, how
Yeah.
there's a story. I know the whole story behind it. Yeah, like, 'cause I was
Yeah.
all supportive of it. I was always supportive of it. I was always in your corner. I always believe in marriage. I always be in authentic, intentional love. I always
Yeah.
believe in that.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. So I met the love of my life, Joseph Harold Washington. We met back in 2016, and it was actually funny because I don't think I was. No, I know I wasn't looking at the
mhm,
time, right? Like, it wasn't one of those where I was praying or desiring for a partner. So he showed up, unexpectedly. And I tell people all the time, I think that he came in my life at a time where God was really wanting me to know that there are, one, genuine men out there, but then
mhm,
two, there are men out there that will love you wholly and completely and unconditionally. Because prior to him, my track record with men was horrible. I had abusive relationships. I just didn't have a good, working relationship with men. So he came at a time that was very unexpected. But I will say I learned so much about myself in that relationship. And I tell people all the times that relationships will expose you. Like they will expose those parts of you that you think that you have had so propped up and masked up and, good. And I say that because when we were together, um we were getting like he wasn't a confrontational type of guy, right? He was the communicator in the relationship, whereas I was more of a confrontational person because that's what I saw growing up. And so I remember distinctively we got into like a argument and he walked away from me, and when he walked away it triggered those abandonment issues, and immediately I just began to spiral because like now I'm feeling like, oh my god, he's gonna walk away from me and we're not gonna be together and all this other stuff. And I learned in that relationship how to be vulnerable with my partner, how to say to him, hey, when you walk away, this is what it does, right? So in communicating those fears of being abandoned and being left, it helped us because what happened was he began to, when we would have, and we didn't argue frequently, but when we would have those moments, he would say stuff like, I'm not walking away and leaving you, I'm walking away from this argument. So it helped me to begin to heal that part of me that felt like anybody that I loved or loved me was going to leave me. And so we stayed together. We were together for 2 years, and unexpectedly he passed away. And when he passed away in
Mm.
2018, my whole world like changed. My whole world came crashing down, because I didn't see it coming, but then two, it was this feeling of what do you do now when the one person that has always loved you unconditionally, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent about you is now gone. And so he has been gone for 3 years now. And I will say that in the beginning of my journey in grieving him, I couldn't see life without him. I didn't want to know life without him, right? But 3 years later, I can say that I'm so grateful to God that He allowed me to spend time and space and love with a man that truly did love me wholly and completely, the way God has designed love to be. And so I can't really complain for the journey. I wish he was still a part of the journey, but I truly believe that he is smiling down from the heavens, at me, and all that I've continued to do in honor of him, but in honor of our love and the time that we shared together and moving forward.
Mm. Yeah, and I was a big fan of it. I was supporting you. I was cheering you on, and I remember when I found out, I was like, "What?" I was like, "No, I feel that this got to be a joke." I was like,
Yeah.
and it shook me. I was like, "Wow!" Like she finally has someone that loves her for her and accept the
Yeah.
flaws, everything, and now he's gone, and like and
Mhm.
that's a toll, and like now you took what happened, you grieved, and now you was having issues with people telling you how to grieve because everybody grieves
Yeah.
differently. So they were like,
Yeah.
you need to move on. No, you can't because everybody has a process because it's not easy moving forward. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That you know what I mean? So it kind of what's your journey, it kind of helped me figure out who I wanted, what I wanted,
Mm.
and having faith and manifesting, putting things in vision. Like I think you probably know the story how I met my wife. So I remember 2 months prior to that, I wrote note with my iPhone. Listen, help me find someone I could grow with, have fun with, and build with. I got
Yeah.
tired of being in situationships. I'm tired of being with people that really wasn't right. You know,
Yeah.
and I remember I wrote that the night before Kobe died. And
Mm.
so then 2 months later, she comes out of the blue. So I met her on Facebook. At the midnight, I was on there scrolling. You know how Facebook at the time it had like friends, just friend at the top of your page.
Yeah. Yeah.
With her, I was okay, like like she was looking, she had a church. I was like, she in the church. Okay, cool. I was like, if I was like, maybe find some, maybe I can connect with her. I'm not finished with my wife. Like we talked and like it connected. It was like when I
Yeah.
got when we got on Messenger that night. I felt something still in my spirit that I never felt before for any other
Mm,
woman.
yeah.
So, and then once you had that person, you do things differently, you know.
Yeah.
And like you said, talk about it exposed me and her. Like
Yeah.
we went to therapy, we went to counseling before we got married, and we
I
still
love
in
it.
counseling right now because we were trying to make things right. You know, we're trying to make things right. Because we what we did was unprecedented. You know, so
Hmm.
we trying to is get hope back, like love, and know that love does exist. You know, she was in a bad place. You know, she was like I was in a bad place too, but I was trying to mask what I was dealing with, and not really have the time to expose me, thinking like it's done, but it's like it really comes out. It really
Yeah.
expresses itself, and it really opened up my heart for my mom's heart because prior to her, my wife, she never was in favor of anyone dating. She was acknowledged them, but she never wasn't sharing. Okay, this was the one. So
Yeah.
when her my mom her wife when my mom talked, she was in favor of my mom. My mom was in favor of it. You know what I mean?
I
So
love it.
like and like she the first one mom really hope for that I will marry. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
because she's different. Like, she
Yeah.
supports me from ups, my flaws, everything, and like she sets all me for me. And that's a blessing. And that I learned that from your journey. You know what I mean? How y'all involved and y'all ain't care what people think. You know, you ain't care.
Yeah.
Y'all did your own thing. You had your own story, and now 3 years later already, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Like 3 years later, I'm like, wow, like you're like now you thrived and you elevate yourself, and
Hmm.
a lot of people who've been stuck in that place,
Yeah.
but now had stuck, but you decided to do differently. So now you are a podcast host, you're a teacher now. So how that came about?
Yeah, again, when you are following the plans of God, I tell you one thing, like I have grown in a place of God where I just learned to stay okay and be obedient and just surrender to his will. I have learned, just like Jacob, my arms are too short to box with him, so there's no point in boxing with him, right? Like I have gotten to that place. So how Hey Queen Thrive came about was again, God placed it in my spirit to do a podcast. I was in a place where I was like, all right, God, what else is there to me? Because the world knows me as an author, right? I've been interviewed on multiple platforms. People would know my name, but what else is in me? And he gave me the thought of a podcast, but I was stuck trying to figure out the name. I was like, I have no clue what I'm gonna name this podcast. And it's so funny when I say this, but the name came to me when I decided one day that I was just gonna take a nap. Like literally, I went to sleep. And when I went to sleep, God revealed to me while I was sleeping, Hey Queen Thrive. And so Hey Queen Thrive literally was created because I wanted to create a space, just like your show, where I bring on everyday people, everyday experts, to talk about various things. Related to being a woman, to being an entrepreneur, right? We talked this month being May. The May is being Mental Health Awareness Month. My whole show is about mental health, and I just had a guest on there that talked about what it was like living with mental illness because I wanted people to really understand that these are everyday people that are out here in the trenches, out here grinding. They're moms, they're single moms. They got full time jobs, but they're chasing after their dreams. And I wanted to create a show where people could hear from people, get inspired, and know that it doesn't matter what it is that you got going on. Like if God is truly giving you something, and I believe he's given all his children something, then he has the plan in place. That's one. But then also two, he has the provision. And I tell people all the time, when you know it's God, you don't ever have to worry about the provision because he will align you with the right people, the right connections, everything you need to get his plan and his will done for your life. So that's how Hey Queen Thrive came. And then coaching, I actually was avoiding coaching. I will not lie to you, Levon. I was avoiding it like the plague. I was like, Coach, Leah, me? No, I don't want to coach nobody. But how it came was that I just couldn't, I had to stop avoiding it. I had so many women and men, inspiring authors coming to me, watching me all over my social medias and saying, how are you writing all these books? How are you getting this thing done? Like, I have a book in me too, but I have no clue how to do it. And so I started coaching, and I'll be completely and utterly honest. I kind of played it small. So everybody didn't know I was coaching. And then, I truly believe as God's people that when you are providing a service, you should charge, right? There's nowhere in the Bible God says that his people should be broke, right? So I was playing it small. I was sitting there like, yeah, okay, I'll coach, but I'll coach for like $50 or whatever. And I recently went to a conference in Winter Lotts, Connecticut, that my business bestie, Tamara Mitchell Davis, put on called Pin the Profits. And I sat in a room with some boss women who literally was like, I see you. I see what you're doing. I watch you on social media. It is really time for you to level up because you have what people need. And I came back and I said to God, I said, okay, God, if this is truly what it is that you want me to do, if this is where you're taking me next, then I'm going to trust that every client that I need to have to get them through their book writing journey, you will send. And when I tell you that was a month ago, God had my phone has been jumping, my email has been jumping, my inbox has been jumping. I've been booked and busy between podcast hosting and coaching. And it to me, it is what has been amazing is watching these women finally see their story come to life. That's what's been amazing to me. It's the transformation for me because I again was avoiding it, but God literally showed me, no, they need your expertise. They need you to help them through this process.
Wow. And like I said, I'm very proud of you. And
Thank you.
so where people can find you for your books, your coaching, your podcast, where people can find you at.
Yeah, so I'm on all social media as Leah M. Forney, but you can definitely go straight to my website, www.leahmforney.com, and you can connect with me there. Ready to write a book? Definitely let's talk. I would absolutely love, love, love nothing more than to help you get that because I know what it feels like to have a thought in your head and be like, how do I make this come to life? And so yeah, definitely let's connect.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so leahmforney.com. So I'll
Yeah.
post that on my page today. So and also as a quick announcement for those who are watching this, Leah's gonna be one of the offers for August Cafe 30. So in July.
Yeah.
So our fifth anniversary of August Cafe being born. So right now we are considering being in person. So we
Yeah.
might be in Philly. So I'll let you know. So you can plan ahead. So right now, because the pandemic and the restrictions getting lower and lower now. So because the last Always Cafe a year ago was in person. So we did it
Yeah.
in the middle of it. So but we'll let you know about that. So like I said, support her, what she's doing. She's a incredible friend of mine.
Thank
We have
you.
seen the ups and downs. We have grown. God has blessed us and magnified us, elevated us to
Yes.
a whole other level. So, do you have any final words for us as I close? Any final words?
Yeah, I would just say, listen, wherever you are in life, trust the process. And then more importantly, trust God. Like he literally, when he says his ways are not his your ways and his thoughts are not your thoughts, he truly means that. And when you get to a place where you surrender to that, I promise you, he will bring you on the other side of some things in your life that you didn't even think you could make it through. And you will begin to see all that he has in store for you. So definitely just trust your process and trust God.
Amen. Amen. Leah, it's been a pleasure. I have you on my guest. It's been a long
Yes,
time coming.
I know.
I know, but you are doing work for the kingdom, and
Yeah,
tell your story in multiple ways, So, but I'm very proud of you. I
thank
admire
you.
you. We always gonna be cool. We gonna be respectful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I definitely appreciate you. Hope you have a good rest of your day, rest of your weekend, and take time for yourself too.
Absolutely.
Take time for self care. Take time for yourself. Like enjoy
Absolutely.
the fruits of your labor too. That's very important too. So
That's it.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I hope I'll see you soon.
I will.
All right, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.